Flashy Flash goes on a straight up rampage in chapter 199 of One Punch Man and proves exactly why he is that guy. I mean, Sonic's expression on this sweet cover page says it all. He can't even believe what he's seeing in this chapter. I was super surprised we'd be getting another chapter before the end of the year. I thought the one a few weeks ago was gonna be the last one, but these are the times where I'm really happy that I'm wrong, so let's just get right into it. So if you guys remember in the previous chapter, we got a little bit of a tease to the all-out ninja battle that we'll be getting in this chapter, where Hellfire and Gale Wind try to take on Flashy Flash, but he easily subdues them with their own attack and points out that he doesn't want to finish them off because he needs them for their research at the Hero Association. In his eyes, they're very important samples because they used to be monsters but are somehow humans again. And just before we started all this ninja stuff, we learned that Blast was secretly working on some research at the Hero Association headquarters to try and turn monsters that have consumed monster cells back into humans. Well, we ended with a bit of a standoff at the end of that chapter, so we pick up right from there at the beginning of this one, where the entirety of the Heavenly Ninja Party starts circling Flash and Sonic, and you would think they would just be coming from all directions horizontally, but one of the members actually flings a bunch of boulders into the air, so that way each ninja can hop on the flying debris, and as Hellfire and Gale Wind point out, this makes it a three-dimensional attack using the flying debris as footing, and apparently only the most elite ninjas from their village can master it. It's their most difficult technique. Well, Sonic and Flashy seem very unimpressed, and Sonic seems to be playing it off more so than actually believing it. I think this is actually kind of overwhelming him, but with Flashy Flash, it's a different story as we're about to see. Flashy Flash calls it an old tactic and just takes off into the air, darting between each boulder in the sky that each of the ninjas are on, and individually Flashy kicking them right in the gut and crushing the rock they're standing on. Honestly, looking at all this debris in the sky and Flashy hopping between each of them really reminds me of the fight with Saitama and Garo on Io, where after he uses the serious table flip, there's just all this debris that they're hopping between, which also helps Saitama do the awesome omnidirectional serious punch that he did. But anyway, everybody watching Flashy is super stunned that he's moving this fast, that he's this coordinated mid-air, and the big burly ninja that was flinging the rocks, I totally forgot his name. I think in the webcomic he was called like Brute Force or something like that, but he kind of panics and tries to fling as many rocks at Flashy as he can, but he keeps missing, so Flashy just nails him right in the jaw and knocks him out. So in the blink of an eye, he takes out pretty much every Heavenly Ninja Party member that was attacking them, and we get this super awesome panel of Flashy Flash finishing his attack, and at that moment everybody's falling from the sky with all the rubble falling with them, kind of signifying that he literally did all of this within like half a second, maybe even less. And after he gets up, Flashy says, "You morons, you don't have to learn this in the village. If you become strong enough, such a simple idea comes to you naturally." And Flashy's pretty much saying that they're relying way too much on just the training they got from the ninja village. It seems very clear that they haven't grown beyond that. Like, they just stay within the confines on what they learned from that village. They are bred to be mindless killing machines, so obviously ingenuity and creativity isn't something that they support there. So it would make sense that they don't have any type of creativity with their attacks or adjusting to other people's abilities. Flashy, on the other hand, has had a lot of field experience, especially lately, and he's definitely grown a lot since we first met him in the series. You can argue that when we first meet Flashy, he was much like everybody else here, clinging onto his pride and sticking to his principles, but obviously the Monster Association experience has changed him because the Heavenly Ninja Party leader wonders how much he's trained, but Flashy Flash is like, training? Nah, it's all combat experience. And he also says you can't become stronger if you cling onto your worthless pride. And we see behind him he's thinking to the moment where Platinum S pretty much put him in his place, where he correctly pinpointed that all Flashy Flash really cared about was his pride. He cares about it more than actually being a hero. And I mean, at that point, Flashy Flash was having like a complete mental breakdown because he had met several people that day that were much faster than him. And up until that day, he thought he was the fastest person alive. So that whole experience was a wake-up call to him. It kind of made him realize that he should set his pride aside and focus on growth. There's always going to be somebody stronger and faster than him. So he can't be content and think that he's the best or will always be on top in terms of speed or strength or anything. So if you're a reader of the webcomic, you already know how this whole ninja leader stuff is going to go, but I do personally think that the manga is going to change that. I really hope that Flashy Flash ends up fighting and defeating the ninja leader, and I think the point that he's making here with the Heavenly Ninja Party is going to apply with his fight with the ninja leader and lead to his ultimate downfall, because the ninja leader, from everything we've heard about his story, about how he fought Blast and everything, he seems to be much stronger than Flashy Flash. Sure, Flashy Flash is super strong, and he just proved that in this chapter, but in terms of raw power and ability and even experience, it seems like the ninja leader is probably way above him in all those aspects. But one thing that Flashy Flash might have on him is being able to let go of his pride and not only stick to the principles of the ninja village. He could be better at learning and adapting and being creative with his attacks on the ninja leader, and that's how he ends up winning. That kind of seems to be the running theme for this whole entire arc, honestly. Not letting your pride get the better of you and hindering your growth. That seems to be something that the greatest sensei on earth, Saitama, taught to Flashy Flash during the Monster Association arc. I know this might be reaching a bit, but the ideologies they taught these ninjas to have, only sticking within the principles of the ninja village and not diverting in any way, not supporting any type of creativity and personal growth, is much like how the limiter keeps people from getting any stronger than they can be. Since the limiter is this hard cap, this biological cap on every living individual, giving them a hard ceiling on how strong they can become no matter how hard they train, they can still only hit a certain point. I think the same applies with the ninja village here, where all of these heavenly ninja party members are elite ninjas. They're the finest of the finest from their ninja village, but they still somehow freeze up and can't adapt to what Flashy Flash is doing because it's not something that they learned within the ninja village. So even though they've hit what they probably think is their full potential, they could have likely become much stronger like Flashy Flash has if they've had some real world experience and learned how to adapt and let go of their pride. And we get this little moment from Sonic that really goes to show the dynamic that Sonic and Flashy are kind of building up here. We get this panel with Sonic looking all worried and amazed at the same time, where it says ultimate strength through speed. What Sonic considered to be the ideal specs were right there, essentially saying that everything that Flashy Flash is right now is what Sonic wants to be, what he's been aiming for this entire time. But obviously, since he considers Flashy Flash something of a rival, he's not going to acknowledge that he is that strong, that he's that far above him. I mean, I can't blame Sonic for being so upset that he's this freaking far beneath Flashy Flash right now, because as we learned during their flashbacks as kids, they were equals at some point. They did stand shoulder to shoulder. I mean, Sonic was the one that taught him how to use a sword in the first place. So seeing someone who you view as a personal rival or even a former friend pass you up by that much on what you're trying to do, it must sting a little bit. I'm sure some of you have felt that kind of pain before, right? But Flashy Flash ends up having this, I guess sweet little moment with him where you see Sonic looking all irritated and he says to him, "Looks like you're still growing." So considering the fact that each one of these ninjas from the Heavenly Ninja Party is probably demon level or even high demon individually, it is pretty impressive that Flashy Flash managed to take all of them out within like a fraction of a second. Sure, they're not like dragon level or anything, but it's still a pretty impressive feat nonetheless. Obviously also Flashy was well prepared for this like 3-dimensional attack because it's very similar to the battle he had with Platinum S and Garo. He got his ass totally whooped in that fight, so he learned his lesson and applied what he learned during this fight. And it goes back to what he says when, once you have combat experience, things change. I'll be honest, I'm a personal Sonic fan, so I really do hope that in this arc he gets some kind of massive power buff somehow and does come much closer to Flashy Flash so he kind of sees him as his equal again. It would be really cool to see Sonic that strong. But I don't know, this is my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought about this chapter in the comments below. How has this whole ninja face-off been going for you? Have you liked it? Have you not liked it? Very curious to hear all your thoughts in the comments below. But that is it for this one. Have an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video.